We have made it, everybody, to Thursday. Welcome to Zia Comics Weekly. A little behind today because obviously we have a working watch in this building that I was like, oh, I still got time. No, you don't.
Yeah, but if they're not digital watches, a lot of people can't read them anymore.
You know, I was like, okay, I know I cannot be that bad because we have one in the house. And I was like, is that the right time? I haven't changed it in like a couple of time changes already. So I was like, yeah, I don't
It's right twice a year, right? Just
we're figuring it out. I'm like, this whole time I was like, oh, I got a whole extra hour. Yeah, you forgot to change your clocks.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Zia Comics Weekly, of course, where we get to talk all things nerd and we get to indulge in some of our favorite things, whether it's your favorite comic book, your favorite streaming show, whatever the case may be. Of course, myself and we got Troy, aka Moon Knight, joining us. We're definitely going to have to get to Moon Knight because that is the latest that we will be enjoying for the next couple of episodes. But first, Troy, how are things going? How's life?
Yeah. Yeah. Just more of the same. We have the in-store signing this weekend.
Yes.
April 2nd. Mr. Jason Font, the Red Ranger from Time Force Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never watched it. I don't have the Zord. Yeah, something like that. It looks better when he does it.
Yeah, and they usually have something like this attached to them where it's like, it's not obvious, right? Like most people wear watches, they're wearing a huge like flash drive on them. Like, okay. Like that's not suspicious.
No. Yeah, he'll be there April 2nd, this Saturday.
All righty.
We have some stuff you can buy to get signed, or you can bring your own stuff, or he'll have headshots and stuff you can get from him to get signed.
All righty. So make plans to go out there.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be a big turnout for him so we can get more people in store signing. And because they talk to each other, if they do good, one of them does good at the store, they'll tell their buddies and say, hey, you should go, try that place.
Yeah.
So, come on, guys, show up for him.
Word of mouth. We're counting on everybody to go out there this Saturday. It's going to be, from what I'm looking, it's going to be a beautiful weekend. So looking for something to do.
No wind.
Yeah, I know. No leaves blowing in front of your building. I'll just leave it at that. Go follow Zia Comics on TikTok. You'll see why.
Yeah, we had a little talk with the city about that. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. So
okay, I'm glad we got that worked out.
Yeah, it took 2 talks with them. The first time they told me I was imagining things. Second time I showed them the video where he makes a complete circle, blows it into ours, goes next door, blows their patio out into ours.
Yeah, so I'm sure the winds will be nice. There'll be no winds that
real or man-made. Yeah,
exactly. What's going on at Zia Comics? We know every Wednesday we got New Comic Wednesdays, and what else we got going on? I'm sure you've had time now to kind of get back into the swing of things after being at the Gamma Expo and everything else. So talk to us. How are things going at Zia Comics?
Good, man. Things we have good employees there, so I can be gone and things will still run really well. Yeah. So it's same old. Every Wednesday's New Comic Book Day. Friday's Friday Night Magic. Saturday we have free board game night. This Saturday, of course, during the day until Last Fan Standing, Jason Font will be doing in-store signing. Mm-hmm. And just busy as usual, man. We've been getting tons and tons of inventories, like 30-40 boxes every day of new inventory coming in, and I guess they're fixing the supply chain and we're starting to get a lot of our backlog.
Yeah,
so it's always something new to see.
Yeah, and we've talked about that in the past, especially with that supply chain, because I mean you guys do have some of the pretty cool drinks that we've seen out there, but sometimes that supply chain, man, next thing you know, like it's not there and then they all show up.
Yeah, and it seems like no matter, I try to order to where they come in staggered so you don't get hit really big on one day. No matter how I do it, one will get delayed or one will come early. So we always get hit with like, oh, hey, I got 40 boxes for you today. Here.
Oh, man, it's crazy just keeping up with everything that's been going on. But I mean, you guys are, we're getting ready to go into April. And you're kicking off April with, of course, with this in-store signing. And then you guys have been dropping some info on us over the last couple of days. Let's talk about Las Cruces, possible Las Cruces Comic Con.
Yes, it's about 99% sure. They give us the dates, August 19th to 21st. And I'm still waiting for them to give me that contract so I can sign. I won't bring in, I won't talk to guests. I won't do any kind of sales until I have a signed contract. And I'm just trying to light a fire under the venue to get me that contract, man.
Yeah.
So we can get that done.
Well, the closer we get, I mean, it's just, I just keep thinking about it. It's another thing to, once you wrap up El Paso, then it's turn right around and
yeah. Well, Las Cruces will be a little bit scaled back from, the El Paso Convention Center is so much larger.
Yeah.
They have a larger population. It's just, but we've done Cruces Comic Con before. And in fact, that was the first Comic Con we ever did. Mm-hmm. And it's always had a pretty decent turnout, all things considered. So we're changing a few things around. Hopefully it'll make it a little better. The convention center has gotten bigger. They expanded. And now there's actually a hotel within walking distance. It's like right, 20 steps or so away from the convention center. And we're talking with them to host our VIP party.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the new Courtyard Marriott out there. It's really nice. It's a newer hotel. It got finished, I believe, during COVID. But their back area there, the fire pit area, beautiful. And they have tons of parking in the back, that whole dirt lot. So a lot of our vendors that have the big trucks won't have any issue finding a place to park.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's cool because it's something, especially for guests from out of town. I mean, we think about, with Las Cruces, I mean, you got Deming that's just down the street, our friends in Hatch, TRC, heck, even Albuquerque, people coming out here to make it a weekend. I mean, I've already heard a couple of friends saying that they're making a weekend out of El Paso Comic Con. They're ready to go out to El Paso Comic Con. They said, well, let's just make a weekend out of it. And this is going to be a great opportunity for, Las Cruces and for, the Comic-Con scene, especially like you said, even with the in-store signings. If we make it big, this time around, it gets bigger, but with the support of the people. If the people are there, it gets bigger.
Yeah. Like I said, and they, I can't, I got to be happy about it because so far the community has shown up for these things. We've had other in-store signings and they've gone really well. Even with JDFs, which happened during COVID, had a killer turnout. So,
and that was my first Power Ranger to ever talk to. And
did you get to see him?
Yeah. And let me tell you, when you're like growing up with this and your very first interaction with a Power Ranger is the legendary green, white, black, he's been every Power Ranger. You're just like, okay, yeah, I'm hooked. And when these guys come through, you definitely want to go check. And they're just so down to earth. I think when it comes, like you mentioned last week, like the in-store signings, they're just so down to earth. It's not like they want to interact, they have fun, and it's a blast.
Yeah. Like I said, in-store signings, it's a lot more of an intimate setting than at a con. Most of the celebrities are really down to earth, and every once in a while you'll catch a diva. Yeah. And it kind of, so they tell you shouldn't meet your heroes. Well, no, you should. You really want to know how they actually are. But for the most part, a majority of them are really, really cool, down to earth. They like the same things we like. And they're just, and to actually get to interact with them, like with JDF, he would come out front, in front of his table and interact with the kid. He loves kids. He really plays it up for them and for some of the adults.
I know they're like, I know, son, I brought you to see this, but Daddy grew up with the Power Rangers. You're gonna have to wait.
He'd push him to the side.
Hey,
yeah,
you can go.
I'm paying for this. I'm going first.
I was like, exactly right. Like, I now have access to adult money, so guess what I'm spending my money on?
Not adult things.
No. It's like, guess what? We're about to get everything signed by JDF and by every Power Ranger that we could come across. And with the Power Rangers specifically, I think it's so cool because, like you said, they all talk. You might encounter sometimes there's like a power, they'll do like the Power Ranger cons and they'll do these throwback to the 90s things. And you're right, they all interact. And so if one is telling the other, that just means like, hey man, come show some love out here to Las Cruces and come check out the fans out here.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys, like I said, as long as it's still working for us, we're going to still try to bring up. And I don't want to drop any names, but I am talking with other people about doing in-store signings.
Yeah.
And until they get, we get it ironed out and on paper, I won't drop names, but there's some pretty decent names that are thinking about coming to Cruces now.
It's gonna get exciting, man. So looking ahead to what April will be is a very busy month for you.
Oh,
El Paso Comic Con. I mean, we're getting closer and closer. What's the update for El Paso Comic Con?
We've only had one cancellation.
Yeah,
it's to be expected. These guys are still professionals, are still working. So we had Danny Bonaducci, who had something prevent him from being able to come. In fact, he's canceling quite a few shows.
Yeah,
coming up, but he's promised to do a make good. So we might even see him in Cruces at Cruces Comic Con later this year. So, but everybody else still coming. With Shatner and Esposito, Tsoukalos, your big horror guys.
yeah. You got.
I was just reading the comments. Ernesto dropped in there Greg Brady as a replacement. It's funny you should say that because Barry Williams does do the con circuit. and you laugh. Popular. Dude is so popular on the con circuit.
Really? Greg Brady?
Yeah. It's people you wouldn't think of. People our age, they know the Bradys.
Yeah.
So they love, Barry Williams. What was it, Johnny Bravo? Or what was his character when he played the rock character?
Yes. We got another one. Christopher Knight. Christopher Knight, I remember him from a lot of how he started doing like a lot of reality TV, like in like late 90s, early 2000s. He was on a lot of VH1 shows, and it's just so crazy because you've seen him on one show and now he's an adult. Yeah. It's just so crazy to me how they kind of.
I think he's independently wealthy though, doesn't he? He had some kind of software. He made money. Christopher Knight's not hurting for money. He doesn't have to do the cons. He just does.
Yeah, and that's what's fascinating to me because that's like their social outing. They're like, oh, my friend's going to be out there? Okay, cool. I guess, sign me up. I'll go do it. No, that guy's well taken care of. I mean, I'm not mistaken, and I'm probably drawing a blank from a different celebrity, but like a lot of investments. I know he's got a lot of wine. I'm not mistaken, wine companies and stuff like that. Like the guy is wealthy. He's put his money to work for him, and he
does not need to do cons. He just likes doing cons.
So I mean that,
and it's always those guys you wouldn't think are huge popular that draw a huge crowd, like Dog the Bounty Hunter. That guy pulls a line around the corner. It's crazy. And Matthew Lillard, just these guys who are, you kind of know who they are, but until you see them at a con, you don't realize just how many people connect with that person and want to get this autograph.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard is one I would like to meet. I would love to meet Matthew Lillard. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. He's strong into the con circuit, so he's a possible. We've looked at him a couple times, and the stars are just never aligned with his schedule and ours. But he's one of those guys. Every year I look to see if he's available. So
I'm sure there's a list of people that you keep that you're like, okay, let's see if the time is now. Because we've talked about this many episodes ago, when we talked about, Karate Kid and everything, and just how you never know that a Cobra Kai will kick off and their price just. Ooh, and you're not. It's like, we're gonna have to wait until Cobra Kai goes into reruns. Then you'll get Cobra Kai.
He's Pat Morita's age,
Right, exactly. They're like, okay, we could probably get a poster of him right now, but just give it.
Even the posters are kind of expensive. Ernesto was asking about Jonathan Frakes. Where were you a couple years ago? We had Jonathan Frakes in El Paso.
Yeah,
we had Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis, and Brent Spiner together.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
There's quite a few names. I mean, and here's what's I love about this concept of cons is that you just see a group of people that you would never expect to see, and I think oftentimes they're like, oh, they fell off. They're probably somewhere working paycheck to paycheck. Nah, these guys make a pretty good living, traveling off a show they did back in the 80s, even the 90s.
Yeah, residuals and everything. Well, they pulled Frakes and they pulled a lot of the old Star Trek people back into the Picard show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that nostalgia is there. People love it.
Yeah, no, and I mean, right now, I mean, and we've talked about this with the TV shows that we're seeing reboots of. I mean, I think it's just great to see that, something we grew up with, and now that they've added their, spin to it. It's in 2022. I mean, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I feel it's easier to watch some of these reboots because you are so attached to the characters when you watch the original shows.
Yeah, and then they repurpose them a little bit for the new generation because I mean, let's be honest, the way we grew up is not how they're growing up now. So a lot of that stuff wouldn't relate to them. So they kind of got to put a modern twist on some of these things. So I don't hate that.
One person I would like to meet at a con, and just because I see they actually just dropped a commercial, Ben and Fred Savage. So they just did a TV spot where they were talking about reboots, and they said, but we're popular 90 characters. And then next thing you know, it split screens to two people dressed just like Ben and Fred Savage, but super buff and and they're like, I think I like me rebooted. It's pretty cool. And I'd be cool, especially Fred. I would love to meet Fred Savage. And I know he, not as much as Ben, but I think it'd be cool to meet the Savage brothers.
Yeah, well, both of them, man. I grew up watching those shows, so
yeah.
Or I think Frankie Muniz even actually is starting to do a lot of cons now. And I used to love that Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh man!
So if they ever did a reboot of that, they'd have to cast it right. But I would definitely be up for that.
Oh man, remember you could jump in on the conversation, drop a comment, let us know there's something you guys want us to discuss. We got a whole lot more to talk about, and one that I want to get to, I haven't seen it yet, dropped yesterday. I'm taking it you saw the first episode of Moon Knight.
Yeah,
Moon Knight.
Yeah, I had to, man. He's one of my favorite. He's like Marvel's version of Batman, but crazier. And the first episode, if you're not familiar with the character, you might be a little confused. He's got I don't know if it's schizophrenic, but he has multiple personalities, and that's due to it's a long story. The Egyptian god Khonshu saved him from dying, so now he kind of inhabits his body with a couple other personas, and one of them is, in the beginning, he's kind of just clueless as that he has other personas in there, and he's freaking out because things just aren't adding up. He's losing a lot of time in his life and he can't place it. But the other persona is a straight up like assassin level fighter type,
badass.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. Can we say that?
Yeah,
he's a bat.
Yeah, we can say it. We're okay. It's Facebook Live. We're good.
Yeah. So he's a straight up badass, and he's got that voice in his head of Khonshu, kind of guiding him around what to do. In the first episode, it kept phasing back and forth between the personas. So it was kind of a little confusing if you didn't know what was going on, because I had to explain it to my wife. And hopefully, now that that's out of the way, the next episode's going to, and it's on Disney, so it's going to be one episode a week.
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
I was going to ask you, what's the episode length? Are we looking at 30 minutes, or are we going to get like the Winter Soldier? Are we going to get the longer Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We're going to get the 45-minute episodes.
I didn't even pay attention, but I would say it felt like it was more than half an hour.
Okay.
Quite a bit happened. Really action-packed first episode. So
yeah, I'm not that familiar with Moon Knight, and I was that person that was going back. Okay, where does he fall within the storyline? And so you would think I would have put this much effort into school. The way that I was kind of going through and looking back, like, okay, well, Moon Knight falls within this, and then this is where split personalities come from, and this is what makes him. And I'm just kind of like, okay, I need to stop reading this. I just need to watch the episode. And then I found out later that night, I was like, it's out today. So that's weekend plans, is to catch up with Moon Knight and watch the first episode. But you're right, one episode at a time can make you go nuts.
It's painful. Yeah. I don't like it. I do not, but I understand they want to keep you on the service.
Yeah, they definitely are. And they've been doing a good job. It's been a while since I've been on my Disney account. Haven't really watched it. I think I'm still needing to finish Boba Fett, but with this coming back, and then us realizing that now, you got Luke Cage on there, and all the other series.
Old Netflix MCU stuff is on there.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely get interesting because I think we're gonna get ready for a lot of content. I mean, this time last year, man, how much if it wasn't Winter Soldier, it was Mandalorian. There was something, and I think we're getting ready for a summer of just Disney Plus to take over.
Yeah, the schedule for Disney Plus is so full, and then you got the Star Wars stuff. With the Obi-Wan series is coming out, and that's one of the most. More people are waiting for that one than they were for Boba Fett.
Yeah, no, that one, and then you're gonna have, I believe, She-Hulk,
Marvel.
Yeah, which I saw the trailer for that one. That looked really good. There's just, man, I mean,
Morbius, I think, is in the theaters this weekend.
Yes, you got Morbius that's coming out. I mean, there's just quite a bit, and yeah, Disney's gonna make me really regret. Like, oh, you didn't want to watch us for a month? Oh, guess what? You're about to be glued to us for the next years.
Now you're behind.
Yeah, man, and talk about really being behind. Whenever you don't catch up, because as a matter of fact, I got to talk to Martini and see if he's caught up, because I feel like he's fallen so far behind a lot of these TV shows that you really got to almost make like a week out of it just to catch up, because they just go so fast.
Yeah, and you'll miss a whole bunch of pop culture references and memes and stuff. You go, I don't understand. What's that mean? So, you didn't watch that episode? No.
Take the Peacemaker theme song. Everybody knew about that.
Oh, yeah, the dance, yeah.
I don't be surprised if us here at Hot 103 try to recreate it.
I think you should.
I'm just trying to figure out who's going to play the John Cena character.
Let Ernesto do it. He's the boss. He can be the big guy.
And he's going to be the one that lifts Martine.
Sure. Martine's not that big.
Yeah, there you go. I got you.
I thought Martine was going to be eagly.
Oh, that's right. We said he was going to be eagly. That's right. Okay, never mind. We need to get him fitted for a bird costume. So we'll work on that.
A really bad bird costume.
I know. Just something that you just like, okay, we just found a bunch of feathers and just kind of.
Not even an eagle, just a bird.
It's a bunch of different bird feathers. We just went and people that hit a bird with their car, just here, we'll take the feathers and start gluing them together. Oh my gosh, man. But yes.
Welcome back, Martine.
I know, right? A movie that's going to be coming out, I believe, next week, Sonic 2. We got the sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I remember when the first one came out and they showed the artwork, the promo artwork for the first one. Everybody's like, "Oh no." And then they changed it up. They fixed it, and I watched it with a lot of hesitation because I was like, a lot of these cartoon ones just don't pan out. It was good.
Yes,
that first Sonic was good. So I'm hoping this second one is just as good.
I didn't know what to think. We talked about, Idris Elba playing the role of Knuckles. I mean, I thought at first I was kind of like, okay, I thought they were going to go Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They went with Idris Elba. We get the trailer. Everybody freaks out just how good it is.
Yeah.
And then now looking at some of these preliminary reviews, like, are they like trending along the lines of having that like Marvel type franchise? Because it's getting really good reviews for the second one.
Yeah.
And sequels, when it comes to video game movies, probably aren't the best.
Video game movies, period, typically don't pan out well.
Let's not talk about the Mario Brothers from the 90s.
I don't hate that one, but yeah.
Love John Leguizamo. I am a fan of John Leguizamo.
And Christopher Lloyd.
But all them couldn't fix this movie.
Yeah.
But you got Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that is going to be coming out. I guess before we watch it, before we get to that, what do you think that will this movie be something that we eventually see an expansion into more video games need to follow suit to say, hey, if we're going to do a movie, it better be like that?
Well, they spend so much time on a lot of these video games doing the backstories, and the lore behind the video games. And then when they try to translate it into movie, they kind of forget about all that and like, oh, we need to Hollywood this up. No, just stick to that story. People want to see that story on the screen. And I think that's where Mortal Kombat kind of lost it a little bit. They didn't stick to the script.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, write a good story. You
Yeah.
can put if you write a good story, you can put any character on it and it'll work. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you because Mortal Kombat was good. No complaints from Mortal Kombat. But I think a lot of us, I mean, for one, I think they put a lot of pressure to break away from what the old movie was, because we all know the old one that came out back in the 90s, it was cheesy. Then they made a second one, even cheesier. So I'm wondering if they put too much onto, we cannot be like that. We need to make sure that, I mean, because it was obviously rated R. It got the gory, the guts and the fatalities. We got all that. So now when they go to do a second one, it's like, do you have a story?
Yeah, and why would you invent? I mean, there's tons of characters in Mortal Kombat already. Why would you invent a new one for this movie? It has really nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off. I was like, no, dude, there's enough other characters in Mortal Kombat. You don't have to create a new one.
Yeah, it's like, because now when they go to make the video game, they got to incorporate him, and it just, yeah, it's they're setting themselves up. Speaking of video game and movie adaptions, there's a couple, just to kind of real quick before we wrap it up. Halo has a TV show, Paramount Plus. Have yet to catch it, but hearing pretty good things about it, especially because you're taking something that you got from that world, putting it on the small screen. So that's one of them. And then I'm also hearing, I don't know if you know about a game called Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah.
That is apparently going to be coming to Peacock, and it looks like the Falcon is going to be starring of it. Anthony Mackie is going to be the star of that.
Wow.
So we got, I mean, we're I'm sorry, but all these video games, y'all better pay attention. And I know people are like, it's just a little blue hedgehog. Y'all better pay attention to the little blue hedgehog, because I think he's going to have some big numbers at the box office.
There's a story behind these games. They do make a little effort to put these stories in there. And like I said, if they kind of stick true to those stories, the movie usually does well.
Yeah, and oftentimes, I know we talk the video games, but a lot of these are based on comic books too. Let's not forget, a lot of these, their original stories, their origin stories come from the comic book world. Sonic the Hedgehog came from comics.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of movies people don't even realize started in comics. A lot of times I'll tell people, like, no, so it was an independent comic. Check it out. Yeah. Just because it wasn't Marvel or DC doesn't mean it wasn't a comic.
Honestly, Sonic was actually one that just a few years ago I found out that it was a comic book. Because I thought it was just like, okay, this was their way of going against Mario, when the whole, Sega Genesis, Nintendo. But no, the character comes from the comic book world. So, yeah.
Yeah, they take a lot from the funny books.
And you just never know. Some of those funny books could be a blockbuster in the making. And
if you got Sonic #1, hold on to it.
Yeah. Who would have thought, though, Blockbuster and Sonic the Hedgehog would go in the same phrase?
I think the last Blockbuster's still open somewhere in Oregon, right?
Yes, it is. We
should do a road trip.
Man.
Hey, Ernesto, you still in the chat room?
Right. Hey, can we borrow some gas money? Yeah, I think I saw him walk by.
Shaking his head, no.
Can we borrow his gas money? He said absolutely not. So
we'll take the station's car, and
we may not make it far. And gas is like, I don't know. I think we get like 2 miles to the gallon in the Hot 103 van. So
it might be cheaper to fly.
Right. I think it might be. Troy, they want to catch up with you guys on the socials. Let them know where you guys are at and how they can keep up with you. I always mention you guys' TikTok, but you guys are everywhere.
Yeah. Just look for Zia Comics on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and the Tiki-Taki.
That's right, the Tiki-Taki. Go and follow them, and don't forget, coming up this weekend, they got that in-store signing. You do not want to miss out. Go out there, go support, go have some fun. Take the kids, take the parents, because they're going to be the ones that want to go take the pictures and the videos and everything. So, oh man, go out there and have a good time out at Zia Comics. Remember, every Thursday at 11 o'clock, we check in with you guys. Zia Comics Weekly, talking all things nerd. We'll do this again next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Later, nerds.